The night my husband told me I didn't deserve loyalty, something inside me went still. Like a lake right before a storm. I remember the way his voice scraped the air, casual, dismissive, as if he were commenting on the weather. We were sitting at our kitchen table. The same table where we once whispered dreams and traced plans with our fingertips. But that night, he pushed his plate away and said it. "You don't deserve loyalty, Mia. You're too much work." I didn't answer. I just watched a strand of steam curl from my tea and disappear. The way my sense of safety vanished with his words, we had been unraveling for months. Though I didn't admit it until then. He'd been coming home later, showering the second he walked in. His phone glued to him like a lifeline. He guarded it so closely that when it buzzed, he turned his body away from me. At first, I convinced myself it was stress, deadlines, the suffocating pressure of the promotion he claimed to want. But there were little signs, receipts for dinners he never mentioned. A perfume sent a sweet to be mine on his jacket. The way he flinched when I touched him as if affection were a burden. Still, I stayed. I tried. I softened my voice, rearranged my schedule, waited for him to return to me. And then he said that sentence, the one that cracked whatever faith I had left. That night, after he fell asleep, I sat on the edge of our bed, staring at the moonlight tracing the floor. My heart ached, but my mind was unnervingly clear. Quiet revenge doesn't roar. It moves like a shadow, intentional and patient. I reached for his phone while he slept, knowing the password he thought I'd never figure out. My hands didn't even tremble. The truth rarely shocks when you've already felt it coming. Messages, photos, reservations. Her name, Elena, the same colleague he said talked too much. There were threads of conversations where he told her I was clingy, fragile, not worth the effort, and she replied with laughter, with plans, with promises to replace what he didn't need anymore. I didn't cry. I think part of me had already done all its grieving. Instead, I took screenshots, forwarded them to my private email, not to use publicly, not to humiliate him, but simply to preserve the truth. Evidence is power, and power held quietly is the most dangerous kind. By dawn, I have made my decision. I packed one small suitcase, only essentials, only what mattered. My grandmother's ring, my journal, 2 dresses, a toothbrush. I moved through the house like a ghost saying goodbye. There was no rage, no shattered plates, no screaming. He would have expected that. He had always assumed my pain would be loud. Instead, I printed one photo, him and Elena, smiling in a dimly lit restaurant he once took me to for our anniversary. I placed it inside an envelope on the dining table with a letter, short, handwritten, deliberate. "You once said I didn't deserve loyalty. Thank you for the clarity. I hope someday you understand the value of what you wasted and the price of what you chose." No accusations, no explanations, just truth stripped bare. Before leaving, I opened all the windows and let the morning air sweep through the house. It smelled like rain, clean and sharp. I didn't look back when the door clicked shut. I stayed at a small cottage owned by a friend who understood the language of silence better than words. In the quiet, I let myself feel everything: the betrayal, the humiliation, the strange relief. Yet underneath it all, there was a calm I hadn't felt in years. I wasn't broken. I was free. For a week, he didn't call. Not once. I imagined he was too busy rehearsing a story where I was a villain. But on the 8th day, he appeared at the cottage unannounced, his eyes red, his voice frantic. He held the letter in his hand like it was a ticking bomb. "Mia, please. We can fix this. I made a mistake. I didn't invite him in." He rambled excuses, apologies, desperate attempts to rewrite history. Then he said, "You blindsided me. You shouldn't have left like that." That was the first time I allowed myself to smile, not out of joy, but recognition. That sentence revealed everything. He wasn't sorry for betraying me. He was sorry I didn't stay long enough for him to regain control of the narrative. I asked one question. "Did you ever think about how it felt to hear the person you married tell you you didn't deserve loyalty?" He didn't answer. Not because he lacked words, but because he finally understood that nothing he could say would matter. I told him the truth, that I wasn't coming back, that the screenshots were safe, and that I had no intention of using them unless he tried to twist the story. Sometimes revenge is simply refusing to protect someone who counted on your silence. He left with his shoulders heavy, the letter still trembling in his hand. I watched him walk away, and for the first time in years, I felt the ground steady beneath me. There was no triumph, only peace, the kind you earn after surviving a storm you never asked for. Some endings don't need noise. Some victories don't need an audience. Sometimes the quietest escape is the loudest justice. If you want to hear more stories like this, stay close. There's always another truth waiting.